Good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery, Smart Money Alliance, and IIMFL. It is Tuesday morning, August 25th, 7:59 a.m. Central. We get together most Mondays through Fridays at this time to talk about successes, processes, opportunities for improvement, best practices, and such. I apologize for those of you that tried to get on yesterday. We were not successful. Unfortunately, Zoom had some sort of global outage, and some of you faced difficulty getting on, and I was not able to get on successfully. I thought it was a user error on our end, but it wasn't. But we're back up and running. I think what's happening is so many at-home students, the demand for Zoom's capacity, their bandwidth is getting stretched, and sometimes they have outages. But we're back live today, and it's good to be with you. We'll start with reviewing our mission statement, and then we're going to get into the topic today. So our mission statement, as stated on the IIMFL website, is we are a nonprofit organization committed to narrowing the racial wealth gap by teaching financial literacy, improving credit scores, and facilitating the development of minority-owned small businesses. Let's drill into that for a second before we get to the email you see on the screen. Why is it important that we teach financial literacy? Well, if you've been working with us long, you know that unfortunately there are many entrepreneurs that are financially illiterate. And that's not name calling or being negative. It's just they've not been taught the basics that they need to know. So the likelihood that they're going to get funding, that they'll use that funding wisely, that they'll be in business for any extended period of time is not very good without knowledge. And that's why we emphasize the entrepreneurship program, which I'll talk more about once we get through today's topic. We plead with you, please be active in helping educate, because the resources that we provide without the education overlay is not going to make the same impact to our clients. Improving credit scores is obviously important because those scores reflect if we do what we say that we'll do. And whether it be our personal credit and or our business credit scores, it is important. Now, are there some sources of capital that don't care about credit at all? There are. That's a true statement. But in general, what we should be doing, we together, is everything that we can to educate and empower people with stronger credit, because that's going to give them options and more affordable access to capital. And then the third element of our mission statement, again, is facilitating the development of minority-owned small businesses. So that blends into our topic today, which was our topic yesterday, but it wasn't addressed, is the role of the regional director. Because for us to have the footprint that we want, to have the impact that we desire to have in communities across the country, we need to have local branch offices. That's not our topic today. But what is our topic today is our leadership team, our regional directors. It's our regional directors that helps us find and bring on and help train and help support the branch offices. So let's go through the regional director role for a couple minutes, and then certainly get into any questions that you may have. So as we emailed out early yesterday, the regional director role. So this is our leadership team, and they do specifically two things. They develop and oversee branch offices. Now, this isn't some foreign concept that we just hatched in some back room. This is largely built off of how the SBA, SBDC model works. So in the SBDC model, there are local SBDC offices, and those would be analogous to our local branches. And all of those SBDC offices report up into a regional director. And in this case, we're looking for regional directors to help us develop our branch offices. So the regional director, and there's no cost to be a regional director, so you can't go all negative on me and say, oh, you're trying to sell me something. There's no cost, but we'll get to that in a minute. So regional directors are at the top of the hierarchy, and they're the best paid. And that makes sense because if you, my neighbor owns a Sonic. I can look out my window. You've heard me say it before. I can look out the window and see the Sonic down the street. They own that and a few others. So who do you think makes more? The manager of that Sonic that I can see out my window, or the owner of several Sonics? Well, the owner of several Sonics, right? Because they're getting profits, they're getting financial benefit from every one of the individual stores. Well, that's analogous to the regional director. You can also own your own branch if you want, but that's not what I'm pushing for. But in fact, what you're doing is by helping multiple branches get started and be successful, you're getting an override, which we'll describe here in a moment, from all of those. So you're going to always have the highest earning capacity the higher you are on the hierarchy. This is not about MLM or network marketing, but it's the way that it works. You know, does the CEO of McDonald's make more than the regional directors? It makes more than the store managers. The higher you are on the hierarchy, the more income potential there is, and the regional directors are at the top. All right, so how are regional directors paid? They're paid specifically a flat amount up front, and that's based upon each branch opened. They get $5,000 for each branch open. Make no mistake, that trigger of that $5,000 is once that branch is open and has paid their license fee. There are a couple different ways that the branches can pay their license fees. We can internally finance at 0% interest, can't beat that. However, that is going to extend out the time until the branch license fee is paid. Or we can use external financing, which would allow for it to be paid immediately. The third option, and we've had some branches do this, is some branches just pay for it up front. I don't know if they're financing it or not. It's invisible to us, but they're just paying for the branch. The branch agreements are 10 years. It's a 10-year license, a business license. Now it's transferable. So if they decide, oh, I don't want to be branch, I don't want to run a branch anymore, they can get out of it. That's not a problem. But it's 10 years to offer stability. When we were putting together, the thought was, well, what if we just made it 1 year? Wouldn't that be more convenient? But the problem is, and you're always going through change, right? Every year there's potentially change in local leadership, and that doesn't allow for enough continuity and more of a longer term focus. Secondly, regional directors are paid, and this is where the real wealth is built, the overrides from the capital raises of the branches that they opened clients. So let's use an example here. So the regional director goes out and just opens one branch. I'm just going to use it simply for easy math. And that branch only has 10 clients per month, which is an unacceptably low level, but we're going to use that for ultra conservative small numbers. And each of those clients just get the minimum capital raise, which we know we're working on deals all the time that are much larger than 100,000, whether they be real estate or what have you. But ignoring all of that, we're just going to go in ultra conservative. So that branch, only 10 conversions a month, and each of those conversions is just doing the bare minimum. So if you multiply that out, that's $1 million capital raise generated from that branch per month. So we know the branch is making $50,000 a month, 5% of the $1 million. And that's unacceptably low. And again, we can always go back and look at the SBDC model and see what type of numbers we should be hitting. But the branch is making $50,000. The regional director receives a 1% override. That does not come out of the branch's pocket. It's not a reduction in branch office income. Therefore, the regional director, using this ultra conservative assumption, would generate $10,000 per month per branch. And you may say, well, that's not enough. Well, what could you do? You could either help that branch generate more than 10 clients a month, which would be preferable for us all, get them going from 10 clients a month to 20. You've doubled the branch income to $100,000 a month, which is the minimum a branch should be, and you've just doubled your income to $20,000 a month. That's much more significant. And or you can open more than one branch, right? So those are the two variables that you could change to impact your income. Also, regional directors are getting overrides off of the key person policies. And we almost, not quite, but almost have a 1-to-1 ratio. So almost every client will get a key person policy. So if we just backed into this ultra conservative, let's say that we have 9 new key person policies from just this minimal assumption. So then the regional director is getting an override on what? 9 policies. But as we start to help our branches generate more volume and or open more branches, then this can be massive. And yes, regional directors can manage multiple branches. In the past, we talked about the sweet spot of being about 10 to 12 branches. If you could open 10 to 12 and manage those, that's about what we see in the SBA model, but there's not a cap. Now, there is a minimum. You need to open at least 4 branches to be designated as a regional director, and I'll get to that in just a moment. Just to clarify, regional directors do qualify for that $100,000 business credit line that we talked a few weeks ago, and I'll show you there's a YouTube video of that training that's up on the IIMFL website on the career page. So this is something that the regional directors do qualify for. Back to being the process of becoming a regional director. So if you bring on 1 branch, you're not going to earn the title of regional director. Now you're going to make your $5,000 and you're going to get the overrides on the key person policies, but you're not going to get the 1%. The 1% is tied to once you've earned the role of regional director, which just simply means you brought in 4 branches in a rolling 30-day period. Rolling just means if you brought in your first branch today on August 25th, that you would have a full 30 days, even though that skips over the end of August and gets into September. Well, why is that a requirement? Well, we don't want, and this is exaggeration, but we don't want 1 million regional directors that each brought on 1 branch. That's not the goal. The goal is to have a smaller number of higher performing regional directors. And probably any of us could go bring on a branch between now and the end of the week. But for us to demonstrate capacity to bring on 4 branches shows that it's not just a hunch, that we didn't just know someone, that we just didn't strong arm someone, that we actually have a capability of developing that branch, developing branches that in turn will turn around and oversee. Now, we make it super simple, and some of you have seen this. Mr. Reeves brought in his first branch yesterday. We make it super simple, right? All you do is just email us the name and email address of the prospective branch manager. We will then send them over the branch DocuSign, and we'll copy you so you know that they've received it. Well, what that does then is when they execute it, you also know, because DocuSign will automatically give you a copy of it. So you're never sitting around wondering, I wonder if they ever signed up, or why didn't they sign up? Well, I don't know why they didn't. That's between you and them, but you will know if they did or didn't, and then they'll get daily reminders for the maximum that DocuSign allows, which is 120 days. And the highlighted yellow is just to clarify, we have a standalone regional director Zoom that's not at this time, not at this dial-in information. And so you'll obviously be welcome to participate in those once you've qualified. And that's, again, where the best of the best get together. Again, no cost to be a regional director. You can be a branch manager and a regional director, but you don't have to be a branch manager to be a regional director. You might ask, well, what happens once you bring on a new branch? Well, we're going to immediately onboard them, which means we put them in the CRM. We have a template in the CRM that's going to go out to them. Jennifer is going to reach out to them to help them navigate through. We're going to get them plugged in immediately to online training and support. What you'll probably want to do, and this is important, right? Because if you're helping an entrepreneur get started, whether it be open a donut shop, a laundromat, a car dealership, a bank, any type of business, housekeeping service, dog grooming service, they should have a written business plan, right? Not because it's just some academic exercise, but what you and I know is businesses that have written plans have a significant higher likelihood of success because they've thought through the variables. They have a plan. Just about anything in life, you're more likely to be successful if you have a plan than if you don't. And so what we don't want is to bring on a bunch of branches that have no plans. So what we would recommend, it's not a requirement, but what we would recommend is that you as the leader help them have a plan. And so you could go ahead and plug them into the Capital Ready Package version 2.0 or simply the entrepreneurship program. Of course, they'll benefit from knowing how we're helping clients, but the point here is not that. It's that if we can help them have a plan with an identified marketing and sales strategy, identifying our target audience, having monthly goals for revenue, managing expenses, they're going to be more successful. They're running it like a business, right? And that's what we want to avoid is people that don't run their branch like a business. I think the curse of our model is it generates so much money. I think there's a tendency for people to get lazy because, you know, if you're hitting your 50,000, 100,000 a month, it's tempting to be less disciplined and not run your branch the way it should. But that's what the regional director needs to do is help them be successful, and long-term success incorporates planning. All right, and so then the regional director is going to assist the branch in a minimum level of production. What we want to do is make sure that each branch on average, but let's even remove the on average for a moment, we want them to have at least one conversion a week. Let's say that you're the regional director and you brought on a branch and they have no conversions this week. What's going to happen to their morale? What's going to happen to their cash flow? Nothing good in either case. But if you work with them to help them develop at least, let's say, one Capital Ready Package client, and we're not going through all the strategies. Of course, we primarily focus on education through the branches and workshops and all that, which we're not getting into that level of detail right now. But if you can help them generate at least one Capital Ready Package client per week, now they're bringing in $2,500 for the week up front. Now they have money to be able to support the branch and support themselves and grow. So the point is, as a regional director, you want to have your antenna up, your eyes laser focused on each of your branches and manage appropriately. Make sure that they're generating at least one conversion a week. Should be many, many more, granted. But if it's not at least one, it's broken, right? And you need to fix that because they're not going to hang around. Branches are not going to hang around if they don't make money. And they shouldn't, right? They're wasting their time. So there is responsibility on the role of the regional director. And then we just recently announced that we're resuming our weekly Friday meetings. We used to do these all the time. Pandemic hit, we stopped having them. We're starting again in September. And so as soon as possible, we want to get them in to the next available Friday training that they have an opening on their calendar. But we don't want to sit around and wait for that to occur. We need to be doing these other things even prior to them attending the in-person class. Okay, so who has questions on this regional director role that we've talked about? I want to vet through those questions, and then there's the other topic I wanted to briefly talk about. Let's see, Doug asked, is one of our branches, what if as a regional manager you bring in the 10 to 12 branches over 12 months, but never did bring on 4 within a 30-day? Okay, so that's a great point. And we could question if it's right or not, but this is how it works. You technically don't become a regional director if you've not brought on 4 in a 30-day period. And so that is mentioned right here. So you can still get the 5,000, you can still get the overrides on the key person policies, but you're not going to get an override on the production. To earn your way into the regional director role, Doug, doesn't cost you a thing, but you have to bring on 4 branches within a 30-day window, because otherwise what that suggests is either the person has a passive effort or really isn't very capable. We need to open more branches more quickly. We have so many people contacting us wanting local branch offices to work with. We don't have enough branches. So the regional directors needs to help fill that. So it's not until you've brought on. Now, I think this is the other part of Doug's question is if you bring on 4 in 30 days, do you earn the 1% on those 4 or not until the 5th? Yes, it's retro back. You would earn the 1% on every branch you brought in as long as you've met this criteria. Thank you for that question. Hopefully I answered it, Doug. And yes, if you want to be a branch yourself, then your branch would count as one of the 4. It really wasn't the intent, but technically it does. So yes, sir, Mr. Reeves. Okay, so are there any other questions? And again, you may not have any interest in being a regional director, and that's fine. I'm not here to persuade you to do that, but you do need to understand the role and how they fit into this whole model. So with that, what I want to do, okay, Jackie's asking, can you clarify the overrides for a regional director versus branch? Well, the branch is earning 5% of the capital raise. The branch is earning overrides on the key person policies versus the regional director that's earning a 1% override on the branch, not reducing the branch's 5%. And the regional director is earning an override on the key person policies off of the branch's production. So it's the next step up, but it's not reducing the branch's income. Hopefully that helped, Jackie. Okay, so let me navigate over to this next page. So I want to look at this for a moment. So the entrepreneurship program, and I know you've heard about it before, but if you would listen closely to what I'm going to share with you, because it's important for 2 reasons, and it's going to make you a lot of money if you follow along. First of all, when a client comes in, regardless of which of our programs, the Capital Ready Package 2.0, the SBA Express, the entrepreneurship program, we always start with building the loan package, don't we? And the loan package is always a 4-week process. So when we look at the entrepreneurship program, it is the loan package process, which are these implementation steps, overlaid with educational topics. Each of you, whether you're a financial literacy educator or a branch office, running a branch office, you really need to either directly or be working with a partner who's doing these educational topics. Because what happens? Can we build a loan package for a client that you bring us, even if you don't do the educational topics? We can. Are they getting the full benefit? No. Are they building their financial literacy as is stated in our mission to do? Not the same. So just keep in mind, if you're not out teaching these, and these can be taught in person or online, we've recommended you set up a class, or I should say an entrepreneurship program that starts every week of the month. So each week you're starting a new cohort, a new group of students. And so today's the 25th. So we'll just use an example. So maybe on Tuesday, the 25th, today, you start a class. And then next week, whatever that date would be, the class, the cohort that started this week would have week 2 next week, but the new cohort that you start next week would be on week 1, right? So ultimately, you'd end up having 4 classes running at a time, but each one would be at a different point in the sequence. So again, if you don't want to teach, you don't have to teach. Ideally, you have a partner, someone that does want to teach that you're collaborating with. If you don't want to teach, we can still build a loan package out, but you're shortchanging your clients. They're going to have less perceived satisfaction, and they're probably going to have a lower probability of a 1 or 2 year success rate because you're not teaching. Our model is built off of financial literacy. Now, very last thing I want to say, and then we'll open it up for questions. I'm going to use the Peggy model, and this is something that Peggy and Jennifer had worked on. Now, as I understand, here's how Peggy's doing it. And so I can't take any credit or any blame, but any credit. So what Peggy's doing, as I understand, what her and Jennifer set up, is that she's setting up these entrepreneurship programs starting once a week, just like I described. But she's allowing anyone to attend week 1 for free. So what does that do? Whether it be in person or online, that gives you if you want to use the Peggy model, that gives you the opportunity to have a first step with a client for free. So you're building a relationship, you're creating value, you're creating trust. Now they know you, they like you. And then after that first weekly session, whether it be in person or online, then you give them the option. Would you like to continue, or are you done? Because the free's over. And if they'd like to continue, then that's where they'd pay the $396 or $99 a week for 4 weeks. We split that with you 50-50. You know that. You know, by them participating, then we're going to then build out their business plan that they need for lenders or investors. And then they'll be able to continue with your weekly educational topics. And then they'll be eligible for the implementation steps afterwards. So that's an interesting twist on the Peggy model, or the Peggy model has, which is don't charge them to enroll initially in the class, allow them to start for free. When I was a college instructor, we called that auditing a class. You'd allow a prospective student to sit in on one class, but it would only be the first one. So they're going to learn about the sequence, they're going to learn about you, they're going to see the value, and so then there's your funnel. It's always easier to do marketing and invite someone to a free first step than to do marketing and then to drop them in automatically into a fee-based proposition. So that's the Peggy model that Jennifer had asked me to share with you. What questions do any of you have about this process or the educational component? All right, Diamond's asking about Capital Ready 2.0. So a couple things I'll answer, Diamond. First of all, we have quite a few educational topics. So you go to the career page, and so here's a $100,000 guaranteed access to capital we were talking about for regional directors. Here's the implementation steps for the entrepreneurship program. Here's great places to get leads for your workshops, strategies for approaching key influencers, $100,000 business credit line. Sorry, this was regarding the Capital Ready program. I misspoke. This is the credit line we were talking about for regional directors, the free credit program, the access to workshops. So what I would recommend doing is, Diamond, watching this video, because this one is going to teach you how to enroll people into the Capital Ready Package 2.0. This is the training for it, the very first one on the career page. Okay, you're welcome, Diamond. All right, let's see. Annette has a question. She's branch manager. Yeah, as a branch manager, if you are writing the key person policies, then there's a comp plan that we follow. And once you submit in the insurance application, even before the policy's been approved, even before it's been issued, then they advance you 40% of that. And so you'll want to get with Jennifer on that math, but it sounds like you were surprised by getting paid so quickly. And that is a benefit, that once the policy's issued, as long as it meets Nationwide's requirements, then you actually get a very quick advance off of that. But work with Jennifer, if you would, in that on that question in detail. Jackie asked a very good question on the Capital Ready Package 2.0. Does the client need to pay for each business idea or business? Well, sure, because remember, what are we creating? We're creating unique business plans and financial projections, and each project needs to be treated separately. So we've had people that come to us and say, okay, I want to go buy real estate and I want to run a home health company. And let's just pretend for a moment that the real estate has nothing to do with the home health office, this is a real example. Well, those are two different projects, right? We need to have two separate enrollments, two separate business plans, two separate sets of financial projections, because chances are those two projects are going to have two different types of funding. Nothing good happens by trying to commingle in very different, very unrelated projects and then trying to find funding for them. So it is correct that you may have clients that enroll multiple times for each capital raise project. Let's see. Yeah, Mr. Harris, we just have to review that separately. Who else has questions about either what we talked about with the regional director, which we had a good discussion here? I think it's time, though, to decide here at the end of August, do you want to be a regional director or not? And it's okay if you don't want to be. Again, there's no cost. We don't have a financial incentive for you saying yes. But we need to figure out who that leadership team is. And if you want to be a regional director, then plug in. We had a number of you email say, oh, yes, I want to be a regional director. But this is one of those cases where talking doesn't matter. It's walking the walk. Well, great. If you want to be a regional director, then start feeding in branches, right? Because that's what you do. That's how you qualify. That's how you show that you have the capability to be a regional director. So if you want to be a regional director, you don't need to tell us, hey, I want to be a regional director. You just want to show results. And that's how you're going to make money in the short term. And that's also how you're going to build out your branches so you're getting those overrides. So we talked about the regional director role. Again, I don't think it's changed. This has been around for quite a while. And we're just re-emphasizing that because we really need to get our footprint better established. You look at what's going on in these different communities across the country. There's a lot of turmoil and unrest. And part of that is because of economic conditions, isn't it? There's a lot of people that's hurting right now. And so it's a great time to help communities through what? Financial literacy, improving credit, and helping them develop minority-owned small businesses. This is the right time. I'm sorry that the country's in such a crazy circumstance, but it couldn't be any better circumstance than now for you to go help the residents of the community in which you reside. Okay, who else has any questions that we didn't cover regarding the regional director role? We talked about the entrepreneurship program. You should be teaching it, right? You should be teaching it. You should be starting these classes every week. That's what Jennifer loves to do, is to help you set up these classes in Eventbrite and teach them on a weekly basis, whether it be in person or online. John Stockton, I see you on the call. I think you're ready to move forward and being a master affiliate. That's a little bit of a different role that we talked about. The master affiliate role is something that you can do in coordination with being a regional director or standalone. We had a separate training on that, so I won't confuse you or be redundant. But a number of you said, hey, I want to be a master affiliate. I'm going to go produce a big distribution system. Well, except for one or two of you, we're still waiting for your action to match your words. And so if you don't know how to get your post-affiliate pro set up, which is essentially crucial to be able to have an affiliate structure, let us know and we can help you. Yes, and if anyone's having trouble getting with Bronwyn, who is one of our trainers, just let Jennifer know and Jennifer can facilitate that. The good thing is we're growing crazy quickly. The bad thing is, I guess, that sometimes can test bandwidth, but we're getting more and more efficient. So we're growing quickly, and so if there's a little bit of delay in getting feedback from Bronwyn, Anna, just let us know, let Jennifer know, and she can facilitate that. And yes, Joseph, everyone's been provided. So we have all these topics. Let's go over to financial literacy. Everyone's been provided all of these topics. The youth-based topics you have. The adult-based topics you have. The PowerPoints, the speaker's notes, the handouts, the train the trainer guides, and the small business curriculum. You have the PowerPoints, the speaker notes, the handouts. You have those, Joseph. If you don't have those, get with Jennifer and she can help you, because once you become a financial literacy educator, you're automatically plugged into all of this. Any other questions? Anything that we did not cover today that we need to cover? I see Regina has her hand up. Regina, do you want to type your question there so we can make sure that everyone hears it and we can respond to it? I'll give everyone another minute or two. If you have any other questions, anything that we didn't cover today regarding the topics of the regional director role, we invite you to be one of our leadership team. Now's the time to take action on that. And then we also talked about the importance of educating, which is a redundant topic we've talked about. We clarified that if you're enrolling clients, even in the Capital Ready package, technically you don't have to teach these topics. But if you're not teaching these topics, just realize that your clients aren't getting the full value, the full benefit that they could. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Glad that our technology worked today, and we'll see you back tomorrow morning. Have a great day.